Hello and welcome, my Piscean collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your work, career, vocation read, a timeless work, career, and vocation read. I am your reader, Pisces Moon, Mark Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short. Professional witch, professional intuitive, president of DrawingTheCircle Productions since 1998, author of Words of Grace from a Professional Witch, available on Kindle. Link in the description box. Now creator on Patreon, patreon.com/DrawingTheCircle. I'm the Archangel of Lyons, Mark Angelo Lyons, but you can call me Mal. Hi. Hello, my mer people, my Vish family. Hope you are all well. If you are new to the channel, a work, career, vocation read is essentially a reading in 3 levels of power, 3 archetypal lenses through which you can look at many different areas of your life, in this case, life purpose. There is a video in the description box, a YouTube video from Carolyn Myss, MYSS. She's a PhD. This is her archetype deck, explaining the 3 levels of power. I think it's like part 1 of a 3-part lecture, but you'll get the idea of how we are going to look at this in terms of work, career, vocation, if you want to go deeper. That being said, it's a 12-card read and a general read. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, check your other signs to get where your leverage point is, because your sun sign may well be very much finding its leverage in the work, right? In one reading, I'll explain the 3 levels as we go along. Your moon sign might totally be more tuned to your career and your other placements. Rising Venus really could be any of them, and any of them might be more focused on your vocation. So I'm just going to explain this as I go. Both feet on the floor if you can. Focus on your breath, if you will. I will do the same to get you the clarity, guidance, and grace that I can to help you bring together and bring into alignment these 3 levels of power, which is certainly not easy, but it is very fulfilling. Ready? Let's do this. Please take a nice deep breath. And let's talk chakras here as I call upon the collective pantheons of angels, archangels, there we go, goddesses, gods, ascended masters of life purpose through work, career, and vocation, and the higher selves of all involved. 5th dimension and above, 8th chakra. And above, what are the 8th chakra dynamics for the work, career, vocation, for the Piscean collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading in their work? The physical world, 1st level of power, their survival intuition, what's going on in their 8th chakra. 8th chakra really highly influences their electromagnetics and every other chakra, what they attract and repel for the soul's evolution here. So in their work, in their career, 8th chakra dynamic, please. Dominant archetype being alchemized from lead to gold, pain to peace, toxic to healthy for the Pisces. In their personal level of power, their creative intuition, 2nd level of power, and in their 3rd level of power, their visionary intuition, their vocation, their calling, the star that calls them forward on the path. Bring it all together. Let's see what you got. Well, the Storyteller King, Femme Fatale. I like it. Interesting. The Storyteller is a creative family archetype. The King is a masculine family archetype, and the Femme Fatale is a wild card. All right, you'd think Femme Fatale would be the feminine family. It's not. None of these are gender specific. They are all gender neutral. It has nothing to do with your DNA or otherwise, because these are hovering over your head, presenting you with the lessons, the growth, the evolution, the lead to gold, the shadow to light, as it were, to bring all this into alignment for you. So let's talk about your work, physical world, lower 3 chakra dominant, right? How you survive, survival intuition. The storyteller being a creative family archetype, the shadow making up tales that harm others. Different than the gossip. It's also a creative family archetype, but it's a different vibe. Some zone of overlap for sure. But the light attribute, ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. When this is in the 8th chakra, as it would be in any of the readings that I do this with usually, we're really looking at the stories that you're telling yourself, I think, in terms of work, about the stories that you're hearing. It's very hard to discern fact from fiction nowadays, if you've noticed, particularly in the work field. From a story of what's going on an office level, maybe industry-wise, right? Dow Jones Industrial Average, like all of that stuff, that's all speculation until it goes down. So pay careful attention to the stories that you hear and see, right? Obviously on TV, not just in the workspace itself. But that you really understand how creative it is, because the story you tell yourself really does create quite a bit. Definitely creates different choices, different ways of looking at things, as well as your mental emotional state, which we're going to really look at here in the second level of power here. Your career, your hunger, your passion, your thirst, heart, third eye, crown chakra dominant. The king archetype, masculine family archetype. The shadow, excessive feelings of entitlement. Rulership without restraint. Now, entitlement is one of the 7 deadly sins. Used to be called luxury. Now it's called entitlement. Thank you, Caroline Myss. Her book, Defy Gravity, quite the revelation. Kings don't do well in the United States. Even the king archetypes, they may be in charge, but they don't stay in charge for very, very long, right? There's a long history there with the king archetype and etc. on planet Earth. But the light attribute, enlightened, benevolent leadership benefiting those in your charge. And you can feel the difference between a shadow king, shadow king, X-Men, or the light king here. What I like about this is that it really says that you are in control of what's going on in your career. Now, what you do for a living may not be what you do for a career. Lots of people, what they do, their career, heart, third eye, crown stuff, what they yearn for, what they hunger, what they thirst for, they do in the time when they are not earning a living. But for, of course, many people, it is the other way around. For myself, I don't make money what am I? I'm the president of the company, or I'm a producer. I produce events. I video and live and, in person. That's not where I make my money. I make my money from my career. Being a teacher, being a reader, being a healer, being a professional witch, a writer, and all of that. So, it feels like whatever's going on in your career, there is a dominant vibe there for you to not just be a leader, but to benefit those in your charge. Now, if you're self-employed, that means everybody that you come in contact with, essentially, right? The king of your kingdom. But even though it's a masculine family archetype, don't get it too convoluted in the mind in terms of bodily gender. Just saying, it's really important, because I have the queen archetype. I am wearing the Amazon Princess Wonder Woman t-shirt today, so, work. Because then we've got the Femme Fatale. I mean, there have been literal historical Femme Fatales, Mata Hari, but I have to go for the ones from fiction. Emma Peel. Emma Peel is, I think, one of my favorites. Morticia Adams, any of the versions of Morticia Adams that we've had. Elvira, right? Definitely the fatal female. And this is wild card, so I really want to specify and clarify that this is not about being a biological male, nor is this about being a biological female. You can be. I'm just saying it's not all about that. That's not a defining characteristic. The shadow attribute, inappropriate use of sensuality, attachment to money and power. Now, in your calling, that's tricky, because it is your vocation, it is your mystical and your spiritual power. Survival intuition, creative intuition, this is visionary intuition. This is really seeing your place in the plan, if you will, of it all. Much, much, much bigger picture. So the light attribute highlights the erotic energy of the feminine, opening opens your heart when your dependency is rejected. I'm going to say, if we take that out of the purely sensual and erotic aspect here, we're looking at somebody with a high probability of them not really getting what they want in their work, having a lot of power in their career internally. At least we've got a lot more cards, 9 more cards at the table to clarify this. But in that femme fatale, if they are feeling rejected with an attachment to money and power, particularly because they have to pay their bills, watch the stories you're telling, then this is really about going to the divine and saying, all right, then open my heart, right? Opens my heart when my dependency is rejected. In other words, that dependency might be financial. It might be in terms of support of collaborators or friends or family to help you. Because it could be very much that you're a king without a kingdom, or a king without a court. The royal court, not like, the people's court. Wapner. It's time for Wapner. Let's get some more on the table here. Our next 2 decks are tarot. We're going to use Daughters of the Moon to look at the internal stuff, the heart, third eye, crown chakra stuff, your feminine energy, your yin-ternal world. Emotional power, willpower, mental power, spiritual power, if you want to do it that way. And the stuff that people don't know about unless you share it, right, Pisces? We can keep a secret, sorta, even unto ourselves. Please take a nice deep breath. This is my favorite part, particularly for Pisces, as I call upon my goddesses of water. The sign of Pisces, element of the West, powers of the West. Please, 3 cards, one at a time, straight up, for the Piscean collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading in their work. They got the Storyteller, and certainly that can go either way, right? You can have an archetype for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So this might be something lifelong for them. This might be just something they're dealing with, in a phase of their career, which is more of a season. Or this is just something that's in and out for like a day, a week, or a month. With that Storyteller, what's going on inside of them, please? Heart, third eye, crown, dynamic. All right, well, 9 of Blades, which is the 9 of Swords. The key word there is criticism. Now, 9 of Swords is that sleepless nights thing, right? It's overthinking, which means your heart's not open. But with the Storyteller, this can really be saying to be very, very critical, and like critical carry in it, right? Critical math, critical writing, detailed. Really, really look at the thoughts that you're thinking. And really, I would, Byron Katie, Byronkatie, a spiritual teacher, female, the work of Byron Katie. That's what her process is called, the work, where you question the thoughts. Is it true? Can I be absolutely sure it's true? Who would I be if I never thought this thought? What am I like when I think this thought? What would I be like if I didn't think this thought? I'm paraphrasing. And then there's a thing called a reversal, which is, she explains it better than I ever could. So maybe that's it. Some introspection here. There is also the thing of being, maybe the stories that you're telling to yourself are very self-critical. All the arrows pointing inward here. The 9 of Blades. I'm a Virgo, that's what we do, right? And with a Pisces moon, I have to keep my eye on that, particularly if I don't meet the schedule I think I'm supposed to make. I can write all sorts of stories in my head about what might happen, and we all do that, right? It's called worrying. But with the 9 of Blades, the 9 of Swords, with the swords over your head, can't sleep, it's got all them fucking swords over your head. It could be a bit much in terms of your work, and certainly with what's going on economically on planet Earth. Completely understandable, but pay attention to the stories that you are paying your attention to. It's a good word, paying. I'm exchanging my attention for this. Let me make sure that what I'm looking at is for realsies. All right, my goddesses, the king in their career, which, heavy is the head that wears that crown, particularly if they are self-employed or even in charge of other people, right? Not necessarily always chairman of the board, right? I've had some managers that really had that toxic king energy. Especially assistant managers, for some reason, think they rule the fucking place. So please clarify, my beloved goddesses, for the Piscean collective, that king archetype in their career, what's going on, heart, third eye crown there, for my Pisceans, and another sword card, but 7 of blades, blades in this deck, swords in traditional tarot, meditation. I believe this is an Inuit woman, Eskimo, Inuit, I don't remember the specific thing in the book, but ice fishing. So there is stillness, there is stealth. It's not the sneaky so much here, but it could be. In terms of you really being the silent watcher, right? The king not necessarily taking too much action on the inside, but very third eye, saying, all right, with this 9 of blades, I'm going to be still. I'm going to watch. I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself. Because with ice fishing, though, I have never done it myself in this life. If it was a means of survival for thousands, hundreds of thousands, who knows how long ice fishing was essential to survive, you can't really move around. You can't really make a lot of sound. You have to hover there with the spear right above that hole, freezing your tuchus off. At least you got a puppy. You got a doggy with her. Until you see the fish, and then bam! Bam. So, and that is very much a king thing, right? Let me wait. A wise king, a benevolent king, an enlightened king. And by the way, the key word on the card is meditation. So maybe this is a thing of meditation, going into a little bit more of that still small voice inside in terms of your career to help you resolve some of that 9 of blades critical vibe there. Well, 2 air on the table. My goddesses, in the vocation, please. 1 card in clarity with the Femme Fatale. Please, I could see myself in this reading. Storyteller for work, the king for career. I am the president of the company. And Femme Fatale, my own feminine energy, witching it up day after day. Please, heart, third eye crown for the Piscean collective. What's going on there? Excellent. I think this is your leverage. The card of celebration, the judgment card in this deck, looks like women dancing in a circle, right, in the mountains, but they're actually dancing around the navel of the belly of the Great Mother, right? Breasts in the foreground, pubic bush in the back. They're literally dancing around her. Those are her thighs, not mountains, right? So it's, whoa, revelation, whoa. Because even if you look at the Rider-Waite Tarot, card of judgment is a scene from the book of Revelations, right? It is that, so the final judgment can be made. Right? And if it actually leads to celebration, I think your spiritual power is where it is. Spiritual and mystical. Spiritual and mystical are not always the same thing. It's another conversation worth having, though, particularly for Pisces. So there may be some information in your work here that's upsetting you. Be careful of the stories you tell. I mean, I recommend the work of Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, particularly with that meditation. You can find a YouTube audiobook for it. I send it to people all the time. And then it gets taken down and somebody else puts it up, so you can always find it. That and A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson seem to be perennial re-uploads. But there's great power here for you. It just feels like the king archetype in your career right now, at least inside, you're still. But in order to connect with that in your spiritual power, worth it. But now let's look at the physical world. Lower 3 chakra dominant. The masculine energy, the external, looking at how you're putting your energy out, right, from the outside looking in at you from the inside looking out at some situation. Usually it's both of those things, not always, as well as the lower 3 chakras are about relationships, root chakra, tribes, groups, circles of people, nationalities, ball clubs, which you're a fan of, right? The groups of people. Second chakra, one-on-one relationship, money, sex, and power, but also relationship to other people and things, individually, like umbilical cord, because that's what that means. And solar plexus, your relationship to yourself, your personal power, your self-esteem, your boundaries, what you will, what you won't, what you do, what you don't, your honor code, and all that jazz, which evolves over time. Let's have a look-see-dooksy. Breathe. Yeah, okay, all right. Please, my gods of water, the sign of Pisces, element of the West. Please, lower 3 chakras for the Piscean collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading. Make this specific. Really help them tune into this in their work. They've got the Storyteller in the 8th. With that 9 of Blades criticism. It does feel like overthinking, but it's chewing on pieces of story that are not good for them. Kind of getting the vibe there. So what's going on the outside? Really help them clarify this. All right, with the Fool. All right, interesting. You got it up here in your vocation, the card of Revelation, a major arcana card, and here you've got in your work the Fool, a leap of faith. I would certainly take into consideration that you can look at where you are right now as completing one level spiritually and beginning another one physically. Like every day is a winding road, but every morning when you step out of bed, it's the Fool card, right? You don't know what you're going to step in, particularly if you have cats and dogs, or let alone kids. So I would certainly say look at yourself as a hero on the hero's journey is another way. In other words, we're talking about the ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. So what story are you in? I mean, are you in the 3 Little Pigs, right? Are you in Cinderella in a work situation, right? Are Cinderella, do you work with mice in the fashion industry? There's all sorts of ways to do that, but if you see yourself as like, okay, story I'm telling myself is there's a lot of stories here, and I get to write my own story. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. God. What is that, 2000s flashback? That's cool though, right? The rest is still unwritten. Let's look. King archetype. That feels really good though. That changed the vibe for that. You're still in control of what you want to do, but it's up to you whether or not you want to pull that trigger on the leap of faith yet. Because with this king on the inner, your heart, throat, third eye crown is like, still meditate, right? Stealth, a little secret, keep it safe. What's going on, my gods? Lower 3 chakras for the Pisces in their career. The High Priestess, double whammy, keeping your mouth shut. Oh yeah, a 3rd major arcana card in a row. This is a big deal now. Now, I just want to point out, if you look at the 2 pillars, there's a dark pillar on this side and a light pillar on this side. I just switched that yesterday. I was like, duh. Oh my God, I'm sitting in the High Priestess dining room. Persephone, goddess of the underworld, Our Lady Underground, if you're a Magician's fan. Persephone in the phase of being the High Priestess, the bridge between the upper world and the underworld. But the underworld is not hell. It's the underworld. It's a different story there. Holding wilting daisies and a pomegranate. So there is a lot coming to you here. Your power in your career as a king to be enlightened and benevolent is you're learning how to do that, right? It's happening inside. I mean, the High Priestess is a really good example of the 3 pillars of the Kabbalah. If you want to go into the Jewish mysticism of it, mercy and severity, she's the middle pillar, right? The balance, the integration of yin and yang here. So, I mean, with the Fool, you're getting ready to take a leap in some way, shape, or forms, or at least starting a new cycle. So watch the stories. But in your career, don't forget that you have the ability to benefit others in this. And so just watch. 7 of swords on the inner, 7 of blades on the inner. That meditation, that stillness, that stealth might be really seeing through those stories on the inner. As a result, maybe of spiritual practice, right? The High Priestess, secrets and intuition, that depth, the subconscious, certainly very Piscean in that sense, but maybe not something you're talking about. Keep your secrets. I keep my visions to myself, unless I don't. because this is what I do for a living. Let's look at the career here. Femme Fatale. But you could say Persephone is sort of a femme fatale. I mean, she's queen of the underworld for 6 months out of the year, right? So let's look. In your vocation, breathe. My gods of water, Pisces, the West, please. 1 card in clarity. Lower 3 chakras, masculine energy. External world for the Piscean collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign watching this video, receiving this reading. Please clarify. In their vocation, the Femme Fatale in the 8th, Revelation, the Judgment card, celebration on the inner. This is certainly feeling like their leverage, what's going on the outer, and we have got your 3rd major arcana card in a row, the Hierophant. Oh God, his name just went out of my head. Chiron, the wounded healer, the centaur, the Centaur, in his rose quartz cave. This is definitely you going through stages of spiritual growth and development in the outside. I don't think you're telling people about it. And I recommend that until you are ready to do so. Coming out of the spiritual closet, the witch closet, the metaphysical closet, whatever. Everybody needs to do that in their own time. I am out of closets to come out of. All of mine only have clothes in them now. Gay, witch, purple hair. You know. As soon as I turned 50, my hair started growing in purple. I don't know what to say. Didn't know what that is. Probably a Pisces moon thing. But certainly there is a healing here, but a staged, processed healing. There are things being revealed to you. Really, the Hierophant is the high priest. Truly the match to the high priestess in that sense, though the magician obviously has a connection there as well. But we are looking at this really being your leverage. But it's about a dependency that's being rejected, probably from the physical world. It's got you a little bound up. You're sort of hanging out. It might be, my gods, you've got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go? And it feels like that is going to be revealed to you more in terms of you really feeling out, looking back over your life and saying, really, what is my calling, at least for now? What is my calling? My calling is as a mystic. I connect with the gods every day, several times a day, particularly the Facebook classes I've been doing. We did crystals last night, Craft of the Wise, through Zoom on my Drawing the Circle Productions Facebook page. Unbelievable. I was up till 3 a.m. after that, just like basking in the divine light of it all. And so I can relate to this, and I have to say it was a very feminine energy thing. Things weren't moving around on the outside. It was all going on the inside. But really plugged me into some revelation. I could see this reading for myself. But you do have a predominance of major arcana. In fact, the Fool, the Hierophant, the Fool, the Hierophant, the High Priest, and the Judgment card, the only other tower you have are both air, 9 of Blades, Swords, 7 of Blades, Swords. So there's a lot of thinking going on here for a water sign. Check your other signs, particularly if any of them are air. Last 3 cards down. This is not divination. This is a healing system. The Healing Mantra deck by Matt Kahn. A couple of ways to use these. Let's get them on the table, and then we'll dive into that. Please take a nice deep breath. I mean, this feels good. It's just there's some thoughts going on here, some stories going on that are just not true. They may not be 100% false, but, you know, a grain of truth with a lot of caca wrapped around it isn't always the best way to make choices and decisions based on leaps. So to base a leap of faith on, but there is revelation coming from something higher here for you. This is so our gig. Breathe. Ascended Masters of Life Purpose through work, career, and vocation. Please, I don't even want to see the cards until all 3 of them are on the table. What are the perfect healing mantras? Really make this specific for the Piscean collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading in their work. They've got the Storyteller, Criticism, 9 of Blades on the inner, Fool on the outer. There's their healing mantra. For their career, they've got the King in the 8th. The 7 of Blades, 7 of Swords, that stealth, sure, but not feeling a sneaky, well, maybe there is some sneaky there with the High Priestess in the lower 3 chakras, but that card of meditation and contemplation, not just maybe contemplating their navel, but really running all this information through all of the chakra systems, particularly with that High Priestess, experiencing inner intuition, guidance, and grace, but keeping it secret in their career. The Femme Fatale in the 8th chakra of their vocation, their spiritual calling, that their attachment to money and power needs to be addressed, as it is for all of us, right? It will compromise our calling, but it's all part of the journey. Gotta pay your bills. But there is a revelation coming to them. So if a financial dependency, something they were financially dependent on, has fallen through here, or there are stories of it going through there, for them to really have the truth revealed to them, which makes total sense. That's going to empower the King archetype with the High Priestess on the outer in their career. And with the Hierophant there, it's the wounded healer. It is the Hierophant. It is stages. No one wakes up a Hierophant one day. It's something you go for. It is commitment. It is higher learning, like going to college, right? And earning a degree of some way, shape, or form. And that might be very much part of somebody's calling. What do you got for them, please, in their vocation? For my fishy family, here we go. Polishing my heart, dispelling sadness, and unhooking the past. Totally. Now, like I said, there are a couple of ways you can do this. I'll read it from the bookie book in a minute. But you're polishing your heart in your work. Feeling is a power that helps me heal, and yet there's no water in this lane, so to speak. But that doesn't mean that you're not feeling stuff about it. With that 8 of, all right, Mac Con, this is his deck. Really, I forget whatever arises, love that, or everything is here to help you. One of his books, he says, when you start overthinking, if you think of it as like an alarm, like a perimeter alarm, saying that you're not in your heart anymore, right? Then that is really a solution, and it works, but it's not easy. Certainly not easy. You've got to really kind of feel stuff that you don't really want to feel. So you dance around it mentally, which just prolongs it. In your career, you're dispelling sadness. I will feel better once I get the rest I need. And certainly with that 7 of Blades on the inner, High Priestess on the outer, the King is at rest. Totally. Take the rest that you need to recharge yourself. And in your vocation with the Femme Fatale, attachment to money and power, well, unhooking the past. There's nothing to regret when I learned from my past. And there are revelations of things that you have learned here. And by the way, learn, very much part of the Hierophant gestalt of power. Just saying. So you can read this in either direction. You're the Femme Fatale King storyteller who's unhooking the past, dispelling sadness, and polishing the heart. Or you can see yourself as the storyteller King Femme Fatale, polishing their heart, dispelling sadness, and unhooking the past. See what I'm saying? All right, let's bookie book it. Storyteller, that critical criticism card there. This could also be very much going in and focusing on your emotions with the Fool as that leap of faith. This will change your life, by the way. Polishing my heart. Feeling is a power that helps me heal. When your heart is polished, you are able to honor each emotion for its potent healing properties. A polished heart doesn't take sides, cast blame, or maintain grudges. You may not be there, but this is the process of getting there, by the way. It faces life openly, willing to feel whatever sensations life may inspire, just for the chance to transform into higher aspects of perfection. It's emotional alchemy. It just is. And it does make sense, but I think you're going to see a lot of the stories that you've heard, and maybe even some of the stories you've spoken to others, passing them along, or that you tell yourself about what's going on, which can very much be that 9 of Blades, all those those stories coming at you that you're doing to yourself. This is a way of liberating yourself from that. This mantra is ideal for unraveling emotional stuckness. Totally makes sense. Easing worry and cultivating bravery. And although the word worry didn't come into my mind, I don't know. Critical thoughts that are stories that might be keeping you up at night sounds like worry. And to allow, you know, I tell this story rather often. I said to my mom, Mom, don't worry. She goes, I have to worry about you. I'm your mother. I'm like, why don't you just hit me with a brick? It's faster. Like, empath that I am. Is this my worry I'm feeling, or is it hers? Or, you know, there's always a zone of overlap there. Powerful guidance there. Let's look at the king here. 7 of Blades on the inner meditation, stealth, contemplation, meditation, high priestess on the outer, dispelling sadness. I will feel better once I get the rest I need. When sadness dissolves, you're able to acknowledge upheavals of emotion as profound healings taking place. I think this is what is going on. Your career is going to have a direct reflection on how you work and operate in the world here. This is telling you to get a rest, to take a rest, to take a break, take time, take space, take rest and breathe. Those 4 things, really important. Whatever Arises, love that. Great book from Matt Kahn. Go check it out. He goes way into it. As a result, you are inspired to give your body the rest and rejuvenation it needs rather than to push yourself into states of imbalance. Hello, Pisces moon. Gotta work, gotta get it done, right? The stories we tell ourselves. As you dissolve sadness, you become aware of the vital role downtime plays in helping you recharge your energy field. This is how you avoid burnout in all sorts of different levels. This mantra is ideal for dealing with depression, fighting against time. Gotta get it done, gotta get it done, gotta get it done. And learning how to relax. And, you know, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Interesting. By the way, just want to say, Persephone, though she's queen of the underworld here, is wearing a crown, so we have a king and a queen. So you may be a king on the inside and a queen on the outside, archetypally speaking. High priestess, queen. But you will feel better once you get the rest that you need. Work. Or maybe not work so hard. Maybe it's more about inner work there with that meditation. In your vocation, the Femme Fatale, Revelation, the Judgment card on the inner, Celebration, Hierophant on the outer. I really think because it's the Wounded Healer, Chiron. Read Madeline Miller's Circe, C-I-R-C-E. Really good. You can find it free on audio on YouTube, by the way. Because you learn a lot. Also in her book, The Song of Achilles, you learn a lot about Chiron, who just seems to be a passing figure. Wish she would write about him as well. But whatever, sorry. Unhooking the past. Unhooking the past? No, unhooking the past. Femme Fatale. There's nothing to regret when I learned from my past. When you unhook the past, you are able to see crucial moments of growth from fresh perspectives. This allows you to see the mistakes of your past as catalysts for development, not as something you did wrong. I know, the ego is going to make everything you do wrong. Even sometimes when you get what you want, it still makes you wrong, right? Well, you could have done it faster, right? But the soul doesn't do that. The soul is saying, hey man, this is a game. We came here to learn, right? So let's play the game. And you didn't do anything wrong. It's a learning curve. If you knew better, you would have done better. So I think that's really important. It's an opportunity to see how your previous actions could have been better aligned with your highest values. Your highest values there maybe being revealed to you if dependencies have been rejected. When you learn today the things you didn't know before, you're able to meet your current circumstances with renewed clarity so the past can be unhooked instead of repeated. And I think that's the big revelation here, that your dependency on something in your career, in your work, or maybe in your vocation here, putting your dependency where it belongs in the divine, not codependency, God dependency. But that is an active thing, babies. That does not mean you just sit there. Yes, in your career, it seems like just sit there for right now. Take the rest that you need. But with this Fool and the Storyteller polishing your heart, you're getting ready to take some kind of action here. Surrender to the divine is hardly passive. Just looks that way for a little bit. And then the next thing you know, you are out in the world doing what you're supposed to do. This mantra is ideal for overcoming self-criticism. And here on the table, I'll call that a double whammy. Releasing shame and being more open-minded. And considering you got Major Arcana and air cards on the table, I think that open-mindedness is really good there for you. So, let's do this. Let's put it together in the blessing that I do at the end of every reading. I was born with what I call the grace of prayer. Prayer has always just flown out of my mouth spontaneously when appropriate, thank gods. And it is one of the graces in my book, Words of Grace. I love prayer. It's talking to the divine. Meditation is making time and space to listen. Breathe. As I call upon the collective pantheons of the divine to please bless the Piscean collective sun, moon, rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading with all that they need in their work, career, and vocation, that in their work, that they embrace their ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. You know, I'm feeling a little bit like Wile E. Coyote today, but yesterday I felt like Roadrunner. Good way to do it, right? Because there is a lot of overthinking. There might be a way for them to even use that overthinking to see it in a way where they're not being so harsh and critical of themselves, but as a hero on a hero's journey that is faced with a leap of faith. That Fool card, a new beginning in their work in some way, while they polish their heart, their feelings being a power that helps them heal. And as a water sign, the mutable water sign Pisces that it is, could not be more relevant. And the way things are and why they came in as a Pisces sun, moon, rising, or Venus sign, it's okay for them to feel what they're feeling. But that in their career, that's where they can embrace their enlightened, benevolent leadership, sometimes leading by example, benefiting those in their charge, which does seem to be more contemplative, more meditative, more in stealth and secret, and not letting on. The king is not letting on what the strategy and the plan is, because they're still downloading it. And they can do that while dispelling sadness, that they will feel better once they get the rest that they need, so that in their vocation, their spiritual calling, they can highlight the erotic energy of the feminine, the magnetic energy of feminine yin dynamic. Look it up in Tantra. Opens your heart when their dependency opens their heart when their dependency is rejected, and that could be dependency in any way, shape, or form. And let's face it, Pisces, the two fish, mystic and addict, dolphin and shark. It's how it is. Because if you don't feel it, you medicate it in some way, shape, or form. So, of course, why wouldn't they be given revelation and a stage-by-stage development, commitment, healing, that Hierophant vibe with the Judgment card on the inner? Something's going to be revealed to them that allows them to make a final decision and really formalize something, whether that is a healing path or whatever. But the learning that they get from it is so that they can unhook the past, because there's nothing to regret when they learn from their past. And the ego doesn't agree. The soul knows that's the truth, and the personality is in between the two. Hearing stories about it, right, from the ego, they need to turn the other cheek. Yeah, it's a witch, a pagan telling you to turn the other cheek, to listen to the soul in this internal. That's where the power is, but the leverage comes from their vocation. So may they be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, vocation, that they can bring to life their most fulfilling reality and bring into physical form in the happiest, healthiest, wealthiest, wisest way whatever it is they're doing here for their well-being, their growth, their evolution, and for the well-being of all. So mote it be. So it is. It's a really good read. Does have its tricky spots, but hang in there. Did it make sense? Hit the thumbs up button. Help the other Pisceans find it. You want more of me here on YouTube? hit the subscribe button and that notification bell, because I'm putting these things out when they're done. I am off that treadmill of gotta racing against time. I'm done with that. Why? Because I'm over on Patreon and I stream there every morning. I give them a daily lunar checkup of what's going on that day with the magic, with the energy, where the moon is, and I'm loving it, and they're getting content every day from me. So I hope you will go check it out. Otherwise, seriously, wishing you the very best and the very, very blessed, my beloved mer people, my fishy family in your work, career, vocation. Breaststroke, butterfly, do what you gotta do. Hail, farewell, and blessed be.